Welcome to today's video, where we're diving into a topic that might send shivers down your spine, but is incredibly important: insects. Specifically, we're going to explore what would happen if all insects suddenly died. While the thought of a world without pesky mosquitoes or creepy crawlers might seem like a dream come true to some, the reality is far more complex and dire. So, why are insects important? Let's start by understanding their critical roles in various ecosystems. Insects are pollinators, decomposers, and a vital food source for many animals. Bees, butterflies, and even certain species of beetles contribute to pollination, which is the process by which plants reproduce. When insects visit flowers to collect nectar, they inadvertently spread pollen from one flower to another. This is essential for the plant's ability to produce fruits, seeds, and vegetables. In fact, it's estimated that about 75% of the world's flowering plants depend on pollinators. If these insects were to vanish, we'd see an immediate decline in plant reproduction, affecting not just the beauty of our landscapes, but also our food supply. Insects also serve as nature's cleanup crew. Think of decomposers like ants and certain types of flies that break down dead organic matter. This decomposition process is essential for nutrient cycling, as it helps to return valuable nutrients back to the soil. Without decomposers, dead plants and animals would accumulate, and the nutrients they hold would not be recycled into the ecosystem. Now, let's consider the food chain. Insects are a crucial food source for a variety of animals, including birds, bats, and even some mammals. For example, spiders feed on insects, and birds in turn feed on spiders. If insects were to disappear, these animals would lose a primary food source, causing their populations to plummet. The loss of these animals would then reverberate up the food chain, affecting predators who rely on them for food. So what would the immediate aftermath look like if all insects suddenly died? Within the first few days, you'd likely notice a stillness in the air. No buzzing of bees, no chirping of crickets. Birds would frantically search for food, as would other insectivorous animals. Plants relying on insect pollination would fail to reproduce, leading to a decline in seed and fruit production. Without decomposing insects, dead organic matter would start to pile up, causing a host of sanitation issues. As time passes, the ecological consequences would snowball into a full-fledged disaster. Months into a world without insects, the loss of pollinators would lead to declining yields in agricultural crops that we rely on for food. This could trigger a global food crisis, affecting not only humans but also animals that rely on these plants for sustenance. And then there's the issue of pest control. While insects can often be pests themselves, they also keep other pests in check. Ladybugs, for instance, are natural predators of aphids, which are known to damage crops. In the absence of such natural predators, we could see an explosion in the populations of other problematic species, leading to unforeseen complications. In the first part of this video, we talked about the immediate consequences of a world devoid of insects. Now let's take a closer look at the longer-term effects, which would begin to manifest months or even years after insects have vanished. One of the most significant long-term consequences would be soil degradation. Earthworms, although not insects, share the soil with many insects that contribute to its health. Together, they aerate the soil and contribute to nutrient cycling. When insects die off, the soil structure would degrade over time, affecting its ability to hold water and nutrients. The soil becomes less fertile, leading to lower crop yields and increasing our reliance on artificial fertilizers, which have their own set of environmental issues. Next, let's talk about water ecosystems. Aquatic insects play crucial roles in freshwater habitats. They serve as a food source for fish and other aquatic animals, and their activities help to circulate nutrients within the water. The loss of aquatic insects would lead to an imbalanced ecosystem, possibly causing algal blooms, which deplete oxygen levels in the water and can lead to mass die-offs of fish and other aquatic life. Now imagine the economic impact. According to some estimates, insects contribute more than $57 billion to the U.S. economy alone, primarily through activities like pollination and waste decomposition. On a global scale, this value is likely in the hundreds of billions. Pollination ensures the productivity of crops ranging from fruits to nuts, many of which are vital exports for various countries. The loss of insect pollinators would have a ripple effect through global trade, affecting economies worldwide. In the absence of insects, livestock would also suffer. Certain insects are parasites that help control the population of other animals. While too many parasites can be harmful, a balanced number can actually keep populations of other animals in check, including potential pests that might affect livestock. Without these insect parasites, we might witness an uptick in diseases among farm animals, further jeopardizing our food supply. Even our health could be adversely affected in a world without insects. Certain plants that rely on insect pollination are used in medicines. If these plants fail to reproduce, the production of these medicines would drop, potentially leading to a healthcare crisis. Shockingly, the absence of insects could even contribute to climate change. Insects are involved in breaking down organic matter and releasing gases like carbon dioxide and methane as part of the process. While these gases are greenhouse gases, the balanced natural cycles currently help regulate their levels in the atmosphere. The sudden halt in this activity could potentially disrupt these cycles, though the exact ramifications are hard to predict. The ripple effects are endless, from soil to water, from the economy to our very health. The disappearance of insects would trigger a series of catastrophic events that would be incredible. We've already discussed the catastrophic immediate and long-term consequences of their disappearance. So now, let's focus on what we can do to prevent such a dire scenario and discuss some alternative solutions that are being researched. Firstly, awareness and education are key. Understanding the value of insects to our ecosystems and subsequently our very survival is crucial. Community education can go a long way in reducing harmful practices like the excessive use of pesticides and habitat destruction. For example, initiatives to plant more wildflowers can provide essential food and habitat for pollinators like bees and butterflies, thereby aiding their survival. Next, conservation efforts are essential. Various organizations are working to protect endangered insect species and their habitats. Supporting these organizations, whether through donations or volunteer work, can make a difference. Government policies can also promote conservation by, for instance, setting aside protected areas where insect life can thrive. Now, some may ask, can technology offer a solution? While it's tempting to think we could just create robotic bees to pollinate plants or engineer bacteria to decompose waste, the truth is that these technological alternatives are far from ready to be deployed at the scale we would need. Additionally, replacing the multitude of roles insects play would require a vast range of technological solutions, each with their own economic and ethical dilemmas. For example, developing robotic pollinators would not only be expensive, but could also lead to unforeseen environmental impacts like energy consumption and waste from worn-out or broken units. Speaking of ethical dilemmas, let's touch on the morality of replacing insects with technology. While the idea of a mechanical bee might sound fascinating, we need to consider the intrinsic value of biological life. Insects, like all animals, are part of the natural biodiversity of our planet. Many cultures and individuals place value on the intrinsic worth of animal life, beyond just their utility to humans. The eradication of insects would be a loss not just in functional terms, but in ethical ones as well. In conclusion, the loss of insects would be a devastating blow to Earth's ecosystems and to humanity. It's a situation filled with profound economic, health, and ethical implications. While technological alternatives offer some hope, they are not a magic bullet and come with their own set of challenges. Therefore, our best course of action is to focus on conservation and sustainable practices that allow insects to thrive. By respecting the delicate balance of our ecosystems, we can ensure that insects continue to play their vital roles in supporting life on Earth. And that concludes our deep dive into what would happen if all insects died. The picture isn't pretty, but it's a reality we must face to understand the urgent need for change. Thank you for joining us in exploring this critical topic. Until next time, take care and stay curious.